Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we take awesome out of the box. My name is Jamie and we're here to take a look at one of the recent smartphone releases in the Philippines. I'm talking about this guy right here, the vivo X21. Now, a bit of background. While we were running around MWC earlier this year, Vivo was actually holding closed-door sessions to select members of media to give them a sneak peek at their concept phone, the Vivo Apex. It had something that the company has been working on for a couple of months prior to that, the under-display fingerprint scanner. Fast forward a couple of months later and we now have two phones from Vivo that has an under-display fingerprint scanner, the NEX and of course the X21. In this video, we're gonna see if it actually works and have a look at the rest of this phone as well. So join us for this review of the vivo X21. So right off the bat, I'm actually gonna answer the question, does it actually work? Well, it does, but it's not perfect. It's completely understandable since the X21 and the NEX are two of the phones that are the first adopters of the under-display fingerprint scanner, and we weren't really expecting things to run smoothly the first time around. This will improve, of course, through time, through different iterations of the phone, and as more smartphone manufacturers get into the technology. One of the biggest culprits we've seen is that it's actually not quite as accurate as we want it to be, nor is it as fast either. Now, you can mitigate some of the errors from reading by registering your thumbprints or whatever fingerprint you want to use twice. That will give the phone two separate samples to read and again, mitigate some of those errors. So pro tip, if you're planning to pick this phone up, register your fingerprints twice and you'll get a more accurate read. Now, one of the things that makes it possible, of course, is its AMOLED display. The X21 has a 6.3-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display at 19:9. Of course, yes, there is a notch. Like most phones in 2018, we might as well get used to it. The only thing we hope it had is the option to hide it behind black bars, like some of the other companies are doing. Hopefully, this becomes more of a standard feature on Android P, or maybe something that Vivo can also do with FunTouch UI, which is of course their UI overlay. Now, AMOLED panels are already good on its own, but Vivo has given this one a wider color gamut. So if you're the type to binge watch shows on your phone, or you happen to enjoy a couple of YouTube videos during your break time, you'll definitely enjoy it on the X21. So let's take a closer look at what's under the hood of the vivo X21. You have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 660 processor, 6GB of RAM, and 128GB of storage. Now, the 660 hasn't disappointed us in each of the smartphones we've experienced it on, and the X21 doesn't break that streak. If you want to play games, it can definitely handle that with a bit of a tweak on the graphics settings just to make sure everything runs smoothly. If you need a workhorse on the go, again, 6GB of RAM, this can multitask like nothing else. Again, for browsing, for going through your social media feeds, Facebook, Instagram, definitely handle it, no problem whatsoever. 128GB of storage, so if you take a lot of photos, store a lot of media, or just happen to download a lot of apps, that's a lot of space to play with. So definitely a big plus on the processing package of the X21. Now, one thing I was initially concerned with the phone when John handed it to me was I thought it was made out of plastic, that the back was made out of plastic. The V7 and V7 Plus had a polycarbonate plastic build, so did the V9. So it was kind of light, so I thought they went with the same direction. Thankfully, they went with 3D glass for the back panel. Now, 3D because it has gentle curves to give you better ergonomics, gentle curves so it makes it rest on the palm of your hands more comfortably. Of course, it's a glass panel, so you'll want to protect it. So Vivo does include a case with the phone that has a transparent back. Now, you'll definitely want that because there is a special coating on the back that gives it a bit of a visual illusion. I thought it was black at first, but when I got it into some light, it turned gray. If you move it at certain angles, there is a bit of that gradient going on. So definitely a good looking phone, and I really appreciate this from Vivo. Now, one thing I failed to mention during my discussion on the display is that it barely has any bezels on the sides as well, and barely has a chin. So combination of the display almost being all screen, that gorgeous glass back panel, definitely a plus, a 2 thumbs up for the design for the X21. Now, one of the things you might have noticed while we were talking about the back panel is the dual camera setup. You have a 12 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel secondary camera to give you that bokeh effect. But of course, that can be handled by the front camera, but that's more of a software assisted bokeh effect. Now, do the cameras perform well? Yes and no. As usual, in mid-range phones, pictures when there's an ample light source turn out really well. Again, the portrait mode does a pretty good job at cutting out your subject to make them the forefront. But as things turn darker or as lights turn low, you'll lose a bit of sharpness, get a bit of noise. And actually, if you like to nitpick, even the photos in good lighting conditions are not quite as sharp. But again, this is a mid-range device, so that is to be expected. As for the front camera, it's pretty much the same story. Make sure you have a good light source when taking selfies so you'll get the best image quality possible. Now, all of those fancy features and having a good mid-range processor is nothing if you don't have juice. Thankfully, the X21 has a 3,300 milliamp hour battery that should give you enough juice to last a day with moderate use. Again, your mileage will vary depending on your usage. So if you're a heavy user that has mobile data on for the whole day, you definitely want to bring a power bank just to make sure that you have enough juice till the commute home. You'll also definitely want to charge this as soon as you get home or before you turn in. And one of the gripes we have with this phone is that it still has a micro USB port. Yes, no USB-C just yet. But it is pretty much still standard in mid-range devices. We just wish that the standard soon changes to USB-C. So now, of course, the hard question. Should you buy the vivo X21? Unfortunately, as of making this video, they haven't announced the price just yet. One thing we can definitely say though, is if you're the type who needs or wants a phone that's at the bleeding edge of technology, you definitely want to take a look at the X21. But again, adjust your expectations. It isn't quite perfect just yet. Again, there are ways to mitigate the errors on the under-display fingerprint scanner, as I mentioned earlier. But again, if you want something with new tech on your smartphone, consider this phone. But again, it will all depend on the price. When you do watch this, the article, John's review should be up on the website. The price should be there. Hopefully, we have our fingerprints crossed that Vivo prices the X21 competitively compared to its other rivals. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. Of course, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to be a part of our notification squad. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. And of course, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are running a giveaway right now, so you want to check that out. I'll leave a link in the description down below as well. This is Jamie. I'll see you guys next time. Peace and God bless.